Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Canberra Football Show, episode 53, round 7 review. Joining me today, as always, is Michael Georgeski. Michael, how's it going besides Inter not winning the Scudetto? Sorry, mate, I had to put it in there.
Yeah, I know. I was waiting for it. Obviously, a little bit sort of flat. I woke up this morning and I was watching. Well, not live. Sorry, I just woke up at about sort of 6 o'clock, and I said to myself, I'll just get the games up at the same time, and I was just sort of like flicking between them, and then as soon as I saw Milan were up like 3-0 in the first half, I was like, all right, I think I know where this is going. So that shattered any hope that the title was going to come back to the blue half of Milan, but wasn't meant to be. Still a good season though.
Yeah, no, indeed. And let's move this on to Canberra football now, where we have a pretty good season underway so far. Let's get cracking with NPL, Michael.
Let's do it. We've got West Canberra Wanderers who played host to Canberra, Croatia, and the visitors were able to come away with a 2-1 tight victory. Tanoski and Ryan Keir on the score sheet for the away side, and Geno Curti on the score sheet for the home side in West Canberra. So, an injury time winner for Canberra, Croatia from Keir obviously put the real dagger in the effort that West Canberra Wanderers effort that they were able to put forth in this game, you know, especially on the back of their, you know, Australia Cup triumph against the O'Connor Knights in the lead up to this game. So a disappointing result for them, considering they did have that success during the week. But nevertheless, they've just got to keep on going, and it's a very valuable 3 points away from home for Canberra, Croatia. They certainly had to work for it. And, you know, this all sort of kicked off, you know, when a well-worked goal from Canberra, Croatia gave them the lead as Tanoski was, you know, able to finish off a great piece of play. It was some nice sort of build-up from their own half into West Canberra's and into the attacking third there. And, but obviously their lead was wiped out when Surdy scored the equaliser, just sort of being in the right place at the right time, just having that sort of knack to be in the box at the right time after the keeper had made an initial save. He was sort of just there to ready to pounce and put the ball in the back of the net. So that got them to 1-1 and a valuable equaliser as the game went on. And, you know, it certainly looked like at that point that, you know, the game was probably heading for a draw until Keir sort of popped up at the back post to nod home the winner. And, you know, special mention to the great piece of skill that was on display in the lead up to that goal as well, Matt. I don't know if you saw it, but it was some great bit of footwork before the cross was put in to the back post where Keir obviously scored with the header. So, you know, this keeps Canberra, Croatia at top spot of the competition ladder, you know, as they keep up their great start to the season that we've sort of been going on about so far to start the 2022 season. Whereas, you know, West Canberra, they slipped to yet another defeat in the league, but it definitely shouldn't be something that they hang their heads on, you know. And I mentioned that they had that success during the week in the Australian Cup, and it's just something that they need to transfer from the Cup success that they've had this year to getting some points in the league, so they can avoid obviously being the team that's potentially going to be relegated at the end of the season. But it's a promising performance, and they've just got to keep on going on. And I'm sure they'll, at some point in time, start putting that together in the league where they'll be able to put a few sort of victories in.
Well, the thing I find interesting about this, right, is it's not like West Canberra aren't putting in similar performances like they are in the Cup. There's been plenty of games where they've played very well and they've either been so close to getting a draw or so close to getting a win. They always play with, you know, they have nothing to lose, right? And that probably translates more in the Cup, right? I'm not saying it doesn't translate here. It just proves how strong this league is. If West Canberra Wanderers can play that good, but still can't find too many results besides the draw, their win is eventually coming. They put in a good shift here against Canberra, Croatia. Like you said, I agree. There were some really good plays I saw there from Canberra, Croatia, not just the goals, but in terms of some of their build-up play in general. So Canberra, Croatia, I guess, showing why they are the standard bearer right now for NPL, still undefeated. So yeah, look, the win will eventually come for West Canberra, but we should say congratulations to them for making that final against Monaro Panthers. That should be an absolute cracker, and well done to Canberra, Croatia on this victory here, as they still remain on top. And it was a big win considering a few of these wins we are about to mention now. Okay, next up we have Belconnen United. Huge win for them, not just because they got the 3 points, which a win has eluded them for a few rounds now, but this win also puts them 5 points above West Canberra Wanderers. They're still in 7th place, but like we said, 5 points above them. This also means that they are now 2 points off O'Connor Knights. 1 point off O'Connor Knights, and they're 3 points off the top 4. So huge win in terms of the ramifications for Belconnen United season so far. And not just that, it does give them a little bit of wiggle room. Let's just say next week if West Canberra win and Belco don't, it gives them a bit of wiggle room there since they did get that extra victory. So huge win for them regardless. Like we said, 7-1 over O'Connor. I was there at this game with Russ commentating on this one. Max Green returns, getting a brace after his trial at Rayo Vallecano, which I was told that he scored 6 goals in 6 matches, which is awesome to hear. Hopefully that raised some eyebrows over there. But he came and proved why he's a pivotal part of this team, scoring a brace, 2 headers as well. He was absolutely a menace all over the park, but especially in the air. His timing, his leap, all great stuff. And he got an assist or 2, if I'm not mistaken, as well. He was very well-versed all around the park. His skill, his speed, it was all on display here. It was an interesting matchup, though, in general, because obviously O'Connor Knights, which I'll mention a little later as well, not to take anything away from Belco's performance, but you could tell the 4 games in 10 days really was coming to play for O'Connor Knights. I've been told they have something like 8 players out with injuries. And when you look to their bench, it was a good bench, but a lot of them were attackers. They didn't have a lot of variety on that bench in terms of depth throughout the whole squad due to those injuries. And you could tell how much those other games, the 4 games in 10 days, really came into fruition in this match. You can tell they were tired, especially after, say, the first 30 minutes or so, especially in that second half. But Belco took advantage of that. Early on, they tried to stop O'Connor Knights in midfield, tried to break up play whenever they could. You could tell it was annoying O'Connor in midfield. They were pressing them wherever they could along across the game. And early on, O'Connor did sort of answer back immediately, but this is one of the couple of games that Belco has taken the lead, but then conceded, except for that game against West Canberra. And immediately, Belco respond, going 2-1 up. And then they just keep pushing forward. So this is huge for Belco. I guess what's key for them is they have to continue this. They have to try and find this form, because we all know this has been coming for Belco. We've mentioned against Tigers, they played very well. I think you mentioned your report last week. There's been heaps of positives. And I think you mentioned they just need to put a full 90 together. And it's safe to say this definitely was a full 90 for them. So well done to them. I guess for them, they're going to try and make this count, because they'll be more disappointed if they love this win, but they'll be more disappointed if they can't sort of build on this win. So well done to Zukowski and his team, and let's see if they can replicate that. Next week, they've got Monaro, so it's going to be an interesting test there for both. But like we said, in terms of O'Connor Knights, I think they were supposed to play midweek against West Canberra in the catch-up game from round 1. I heard that has been postponed, which is good for them, because the team need the rest. They were a little leggy on the weekend, so week's deserved rest for them. And this does sort of cap off a week for them where luck didn't go their way, lost in the shootout against Canberra, Croatia, conceded right at the death. In all the games, they hit the post several times. In the West Canberra game, they got 2 penalties saved, hit the post a couple times. They would have think, what more can happen? And then in this one, they weren't able to get the victory. So I'm sure for them, they're going to try and just regroup, refresh. The rest will help, but not taking anything away from that Belconnen victory.
Next up, we have Tigers FC against Monaro FC, where the away side, Monaro, were able to come away with a slight 1-0 victory, courtesy of Adam Di Franceschi scoring 10 minutes from the end. It was his first goal for the Monaro Panthers in what proved to be the decisive goal and a huge win in the context of the top four and, where Monaro now sit in that picture. And the goal sort of came at obviously a very, very valuable time in the game, Matt. It was a great ball from Kalfas delivered sort of from the right side of the pitch in a free kick situation. And, Di Franceschi did really well to sort of volley the ball home at the back post. He wasn't really picked up. So you could maybe look at the sort of man marking situation there from Tigers just to let him go straight at the back post. But you got to do what you got to do when the ball sort of comes to you in that position and you got to score. And that's exactly what he did. And it was a great goal and exactly what Monaro needed to keep building on their own momentum, So they've obviously had the victories over Olympic in the league and in the Australian Cup back to back in two different competitions, getting 2 wins over Olympic there. And then obviously they've backed it up with a win against Tigers FC. So that's now 3 wins in a row in all competitions for Frank Caish's team. And that's something that he'll obviously be very pleased about as, they'll hope to build momentum continuing into the season, really sort of sticking to their guns and hoping they can just stay in the top 4 for the majority or for the rest of the season, I should say. And I think we have to give sort of props to Monaro as well for being able to keep a clean sheet in this match against a team like Tigers who, they score goals for fun with the amount of attacking talent that they have going forward, Matt. So it was a very good defensive display as well for them to be able to keep a clean sheet against a great attacking side that is Tigers. And, it seemed that as the game went on, it increasingly, the physical side of things built up as well in the second half. And that resulted in a red card being produced for Tigers, which certainly didn't help their cause to try and find an equaliser in that game. So I think when we look at chances as well that was created throughout the game, I think you could say that it was probably fairly even between these two teams throughout the contest. So Monaro just managed to make that opportunity that they had count to come away with the 3 points. That's what it seemed like it was going to take. It just needed that goal to really break things up, and that's what Monaro was able to do. 10 minutes from time. It's a huge win for them and something that they'll look to obviously build on as they continue into the 2022 season.
So that last minute, that late goal from De Franceschi means that Monaro are now in second place. They're only 3 points off Canberra, Croatia. If De Franceschi doesn't get that goal, they end up in third place and they end up 6 points off Canberra, Croatia. So, and this also was a big win for Gungahlin as well, getting that second half goal as well, which we'll mention coming up. But yeah, that means a lot to them on the ladder. In terms of Tigers, though, they're still in the top 4.
Yep.
They're tied with Olympic, but they have a much better goal difference at the moment. But in terms of results, I'm sure Tigers are going to be looking to try and turn that around, considering all the talent they have. All right, moving on next, we have, like I mentioned there, Gungahlin United, massive victory for them with the Tom McLaughlin goal. It was an away win as well, which, if I'm not mistaken, they weren't able to get that victory last year at that venue. So they were able to get it done this time round. Back-to-back victories for Gungahlin. Now, we mentioned how it was difficult to see Gungahlin lose 3 games in a row, and they didn't winning that game last week, and now they back it up again this week, which is huge for them. Like we mentioned, the ramifications, they're only 4 points off Croatia now. If they didn't get the second half goal, they'd only be, they'd be 7 points off Croatia, and it would be a lot it definitely wouldn't be where Marcel and the team would want them to be. But this is big for them. It keeps them in the race, and we're getting a really good race going now for that top four. Chances were pretty evenly created in this in the first half, as both teams were unable to break that deadlock. Things changed more so in the second 45 minutes. Gungahlin were able to create few more chances going forward, resulted in a few corners being awarded to them as well. I think what's important for Olympic, though, I know they didn't get the victory here, but I think it's important that they were able to bounce back midweek. They suffered a heavy defeat to Monaro, and they were able to bounce back, and Monaro struck late to get into extra time. So Olympic proved they can bounce back. Getting defeated on penalties is always tough. Ask O'Connor Knights that they suffered that same defeat as well. So once again, similar to O'Connor, a tough week for Olympic in that regard. Heavy defeat, and then coming back and against the same team, being able to change it around, but then conceding late and missing out on penalties, and then losing this one 1-0. It was a tough week for Olympic, but I think the fact that they were able to be competitive here with Gungahlin and then come back against a team that they, were defeated by heavily a couple of days before, that shows that Olympic have it in them. They have it in them in that regard. So I don't think it's not all doom and gloom for Olympic. They're, like I mentioned, still in the top four, behind on goal difference, but level with points, and we all know how this season can turn out. If they keep getting results where they can, there's no reason why they can't be in this top four race. In terms of Gungahlin, huge win for them. Like you said, back to back, they're starting to get the momentum after they lost 2 in a row. Now they win 2 in a row again. It's going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward, because like we said, they're only 4 points off Canberra, Croatia now, and heading into the second batch of fixtures. If they can turn around some of those results that they lost and some other results go their way, Gungahlin could be looking in a good position. Regardless, though, very big win for them.
So we kick things off with O'Connor Knights at home to West Canberra Wanderers, Saturday, 28th, 3 p.m. at O'Connor Enclosed. This is tough. I think the week between their last match and this match will definitely do O'Connor a lot of good. Obviously, you mentioned they had the 4 games in 10 days, and obviously they're feeling a little fatigued. So that week's break, per se, is going to give them some valuable rest heading into this match. And I like what I'm seeing from West Canberra. Like we said, we're just waiting for them to put it together to get a victory on the board. I'm going to go with O'Connor Knights in this one. I think they'll bounce back in big style, and I think they'll benefit from having a little bit of time off now, just to have their players rest, recover, and recuperate in preparation for this one. What about you?
Yeah, look, I agree as well. I'm going to go with an O'Connor win. I think this will be a very tough match. I think West Canberra know how to play, or they'll figure out they how to play against O'Connor after that one. And they did go ahead. I know O'Connor did have those penalties as well, though, that was saved. So well done to Wiseman, I believe, as keeper there. So it's going to be interesting, but I'm going to go with O'Connor just slightly. But West Canberra are eventually due for a win, and there's no reason why this game can't be the game for them. I'll go with O'Connor on this one, though.
Next up, we have Monaro Panthers at home to Belconnen United, Saturday, 28th of May, 5:45 p.m. kickoff time at Riverside Stadium. This is another tough one, considering that, Monaro obviously are in a little bit of form now, and Belconnen had that huge win against O'Connor. I'm going to go for Monaro in this one, Matt. It's going to be tight, though, and I certainly wouldn't be surprised if it was to go the other way.
Yeah, look, and one thing that's interesting, though, is Monaro have been taken to the limit at home. That match against West Canberra, it was a penalty near the end that Darren Bailey converted. Canberra Croatia was a 0-0 draw. West Canberra went to penalties. So they've really been pushed to the limit at home. Belco will be looking to try and do that again. And I think for Belco, losing 3-0 at home to Monaro, they'll be trying to come here and make up for that loss. But I think, like you said, Monaro getting into some form, momentum as well is huge for them. They had the momentum with the penalties also, and I think Monaro will win this one, but Belco are going to be able to point to prove after winning that match against O'Connor Knights 7-1.
Absolutely. Next up, we have Gungahlin United versus Tigers FC. Sunday, May 29th, 3 p.m. at AIS Grassfield 2. This will be another cracker, Matt, given the fixtures that we've already got so far. And I'm inclined to go with Gungahlin United. So I'm going for the home team again in this one. It's going to be close, but I think given their form heading into this one, I'm going to slightly, I shouldn't say that. I should say that I'm leaning towards Gungahlin United more so than Tigers to get the 3 points.
Yeah, look, Tigers is an interesting one, right? You can arguably say they haven't hit into full gear yet. You haven't seen the best of Tigers. Arguably, though, they have come back from a lot when they've conceded. I just think against Tigers specifically, no matter their form, against Gungahlin, this is always a match that they step up for. And I think this one will be a draw. Due to that, I think it'll be very close. I believe it was a draw last time, if I'm not mistaken as well. I'm going to say a draw in this one. Gungahlin obviously have the better form going into this, but Tigers always step up for this fixture.
They most certainly do. And lastly, we have Canberra, Croatia versus Canberra Olympic, Sunday, May 29th, 3 p.m. at Deakin Stadium. I'm going to go for Canberra, Croatia in this one. It's hard to go against the team that's in form and at the top of the table in this competition, but expect a reaction from Canberra Olympic, even though they're in a little bit of a rut at the moment. We know that they can bounce back. They've already proven that already at this early stage of the season. So I certainly wouldn't be surprised if they were to come to Deakin Stadium and get a result of some kind, but I'm going to stick with the home team.
The Canberra Classico, as Russ likes to call it. He'll be there calling this one, I believe, and he'll also be calling O'Connor Knights against West Canberra and Belco against Monaro from the Riverside. This one, I'm going to go with Croatia as well. Their form, the way they've been playing, it's a bit hard to back against them, but Olympic, not like you said, they're going to be looking for a reaction. Just considering the unfortunate week for them, but I think what's also key is the last time they did play in the league was that catch-up match where Croatia lost 8-0. So Not only are they going to be looking to bounce back from the results midweek in the week, they're going to try and have a point to prove after the last time they faced each other. So expect a reaction from Olympic on all levels. I think this will be closer than what people think. And Olympic definitely have the quality to try and get something out of Croatia. But I think the experience of Croatia will edge this one. All right. Now we are on to NPLW, where we start off with West Canberra with a fantastic win over Belconnen United, 2-1. Cram and Oliver, the goals for West Canberra. Belconnen United's goal was from Carnegie. Like we said, a tremendous victory for the Wanderers to get themselves. Obviously, they did versus the two best teams in the competition in Croatia and Olympic. And we mentioned how they got, 12 out of 12 points against the non-top three. And we mentioned how it'll be interesting to see how they will go against Belco after they have played Olympic and Croatia. Can they take those experiences and the positive moments against them and put it against Belco? They definitely have. And I mentioned how impressed I was with Ray Castro's team's performance against Canberra, Croatia in that first half before the change was made and Grace Gill was brought on and the formation was changed for Canberra, Croatia. I was very impressed with the way they set up. Ray Castro is doing really good things at the club, and I think it was sort of epitomized by this performance, wasn't it? West Canberra take that lead early. 2 great goals, 2 great counterattacks, balls over the top. Both the goals, just great awareness, great individual skill, good finishing as well. the goals there should be very proud of that performance because in the first round of fixtures to beat one of the big three in Belconnen United. And yeah, well done to them in that regard. They'll be very proud of the effort, and they'll be once again trying to take from these performances and trying to upset Belconnen again. And they'll try and what are ways where we can make it closer against Croatia or Olympic, or try and even upset them. And this leaves them with 15 points on the table as well in third place, above Belconnen United. So that's another reason why this is such a big win for them. In terms of Belco, though, it's one of those results where they'll be looking at it and they'll be like, we got to try. I believe both of them were either balls over the top or through balls in behind the defense, and the keeper came out early as well. So they'll be looking at that and they'll be looking to sort of patch those holes and not try and be caught out by that in the next couple of matches or against West Canberra. For them, they obviously have the big Federation Cup final against Olympic coming up, so they'll be looking to reinforce in training where they can. One thing I need to mention, though, is the Carnegie goal. Once again, Leah Carnegie with a free kick. You give her a free kick, there's a decent chance it's going to be heading into the back of the net. Great strike. And what she's great at is putting the ball just underneath the crossbar where the keeper can't get to it. Like, that's at least the second time I've seen that from her this season. I'm sure she did it last season as well, if I'm not mistaken. So well done to her. In terms of Belco, though, not the result they would have liked. They're going to try and regroup, I'm sure, this week, moving into what is a pivotal 2 weeks for them coming up, especially considering they are fourth now and they have the Federation Cup final. So Conlon will be trying to regroup his side and try and move on from this result. But well done to West Canberra. Great result for them.
Yeah, next up, we've got West Canberra Wanderers, who played host to Tuggeranong United, and it was the away team that won 5-0 in this one, Matt. Miluska opened the scoring, Hall with a double, Wood with a goal, and a Jenkins own goal there as well. 5 goals and a clean sheet. You know, it's a perfect day in the office for Paulo Romero and his Tuggeranong United team, Matt. And, you know, they managed to pick up a victory, you know, at the expense of, you know, being, you know, away on the road. And we always talk about how sort of difficult it is traveling that far out to go and play a game. And they responded as best as you could. You couldn't ask for anything more. 5 goals and a clean sheet. So, you know, they managed to score 4 of their 5 goals in the first 45 minutes of play. So I think that really speaks to that intensity that they came out with in this game. And, you know, Sammy Wood in particular scored a worldie from well outside the box, I should say, a well taken strike. So, you know, right from the outset, they implemented the way that they wanted to play, and they sort of just overwhelmed Wagga in that aspect. And that's how they were able to build themselves a really comfortable lead going into the second half, where they were able to take their foot off the gas slightly. It's a tough result for West Canberra Wanderers, and I feel as though we've been saying that a fair few times this season. We know that this sort of transition period that they're going through at the moment as a club, and it might take a little bit of time for them to sort of find their feet again, which we all understand, but you can't take nothing away from Tuggeranong United, who were excellent. And I think that's exactly what Paulo Romero would have been sort of hoping for, most definitely.
Yeah, look, I echo the sentiments. Fantastic goal from Sammy Wood. That was the pick of the bunch. What a strike from well outside of box, that one, wasn't it? And yeah, congrats to Paulo Romero's side. First win of the season, and it's something they've been building to for a while. And we've mentioned how a lot of their results have been sort of leaning in this direction. It was bound to happen. And for Paulo, I'm sure he's going to be saying, you know, this isn't the end. This isn't the end of the great results. They're going to keep trying to push forward and upset some teams, sort of like they did against Gungahlin with the draw. All right, moving on. We have Canberra Croatia against Gungahlin United. This one was at the AIS. Percival with the goal for Gungahlin, and Canberra Croatia's goals came from both from Jenny Bissett. Canberra Croatia, after last week, West Canberra Wanderers, like we said, made it difficult for them in that first, especially 30 minutes. They came out all guns blazing in this one, scoring in the first 5 minutes. Like we said, props to Jenny Bissett, who managed to produce a fantastic touch to bring the ball down in that Gunners box before scoring that first goal, like we mentioned, and to double that lead 15 minutes later, making it a tough hill for Gungahlin United to climb, though. Gungahlin United, though, never giving up. They were in this game, with certain moments, and Percival obviously able to bring it in there to put, trying to get that Gungahlin lead. They did have a few moments as well where they were pushing forward. It wasn't meant to be, though, for them. Canberra, Croatia, a big win for them. Just went above Olympic by 2 points. So they're going to want to keep that lead as much as they can. I saw that Bella Barach has made her return after being out for a couple of matches due to injury as well. Good to see her back. Grace Gill was on once again. It's only a second league game as well. Jenny Bissett did very well. You're seeing a Canberra Croatia team that has a good amount of depth as well. And they've got so many facets that they can score, so many facets that the team can produce for this side. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they go forward and if they're able to keep that lead against Olympic, because, Olympic are going to be raring to go after that draw last week. But this week, Canberra Croatia making it count.
Yeah, next up we have Canberra United Academy. They fell short against Canberra Olympic. It was 3-0 to the travelling team. Ryan with 2 goals and a Norris own goal there. The goals for Canberra Olympic in this encounter. It was a rather comfortable victory for Canberra Olympic, and it's exactly what they needed after the draw to Gungahlin United last week, and a clean sheet to go along with it as well. So some very positive sort of aspects to take away from this contest moving forward. And, an unfortunate own goal saw Olympic go 2-0 up at what I thought was a vital stage of the game, as they sort of managed to then extend their lead out to 3-0 just 3 minutes later. So at one stage of the game, it was 1-0 and CUA looked right in it. And then sort of, how quickly football can change, Matt, and 2 goals. And all of a sudden it's 3-0. And it made it even more difficult for Canberra United to believe they could come back and make something of the game and come away with a result. But in saying that, they should keep their heads high, CUA. They came up against one of the teams that are touted to be challenging for the title this season. We always talk about the development that they are focused on rather than sort of the results and the points that they accumulate, which are obviously a bonus, but it's all about developing these girls as they sort of look to progress their footballing careers. So they'll just keep going. It's sort of one game, you dust it off and you move forward, but it's a great win for Canberra Olympic to bounce back from that draw that they had last week against Gungahlin United. Matt, what are the round 8 fixtures?
The round 8 fixtures, let's start with the only Saturday game, Belconnen United against Tuggeranong United, Saturday, May 28th, 3 p.m. at McKellar Park. I'm going to go with the Belco victory here. They're going to be raring to go after dropping those points, being in 4th place as well. They will need to make up the ground on West Canberra. And to do that, they need to keep winning. So I'm going to say a Belco victory here, but Tuggeranong United will be full of confidence after their victory against Wagga. Like we said, their result against Gungahlin United as well will give them hope for this. I think Belco have a little too much for Tuggeranong here. How about you, Michael?
Yeah, great. I'm going to go for a Belconnen United victory in this one, but I think Tuggeranong will come into this with an immense amount of confidence following that huge result they were able to come away with against Wagga. And I think it's something that Paulo Romero's girls really needed in terms of coming into a match like this, where not a lot of people are going to pick them to win, but, they're going to have a lot of confidence and they're not going to let that bother them at all. So they're coming into this one with as best of form as you can, and on the back of a great team performance as you can into a game like this against one of the better teams in the competition. So we'll have to wait and see how they approach this game, but it'll be a great approach from Paulo Romero. We can be sure of that.
And next up, we have West Canberra Wanderers against Gungahlin United, Sunday, May 29th, 12:45 p.m. at Melrose Synthetic. This is a tough one, especially with Gungahlin United's improved results, improved performances over the past, 3 or 4 rounds or so. They've really been improving under Pat Mills. But I've been really impressed with West Canberra. I really have in their performances against the top 3, their performances before that, their win over Belco. I'm going to go with West Canberra. I've been really impressed with what Ray Castro has done with that side. In saying that, though, I do think it'll be close because Gungahlin United proved this week and the last couple of weeks that they have been improving. So I wouldn't be surprised if Gungahlin can get a result here, but I'm going to go with West Canberra. How about you, Michael?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Gungahlin United to get a victory here, Matt. I just have a feeling that they'll be able to come into this one and put in a good showing against a good West Canberra Wanderers team who are definitely in a lot of confidence, having beaten Belconnen United in their previous game. But I'm going to go with Gungahlin in this one.
Next up, Canberra Olympic, Wagga City Wanderers, Sunday, May 29th, 2:45 at O'Connor in Close. Good mixture between the times here. So if you want to watch the West Canberra game, you could be there. You could head off to the game after that. You could head straight from there, go to O'Connor, not too far. So it's good to see the variety in the times here for the Sunday matches. Look, it's hard not to go with Canberra Olympic for this one, especially considering they are, like we keep mentioning it, but with last week's draw, 2 points behind Canberra Croatia. So for them, they're going to be raring to go, try and make sure they don't drop any points, and they're going to try and get the result against Canberra Croatia, I'm sure, when they come up against them. At least that's going to be their aim anyway. So it's going to be tough to back against Olympic. How about you, Michael?
Yeah, pretty much echo. Sorry, I pretty much just echo those sort of similar thoughts that you just raised there, Matt. I'm going to go for Canberra Olympic. I think they'll just have too much for a Wagga team that we know are, obviously, I'll mention it again, just in a transition period at the moment. That team, that squad, and that club for women's NPLW football. But yeah, I think Canberra Olympic are going to be too strong in this one, and we already know that they're going to be title contenders.
Next up, Canberra United Academy against Canberra Croatia, Sunday, May 29th, 5:10 p.m. at Hawker Football Centre. It's hard to go with. It's always hard to bet against Canberra Croatia, but it's going to be hard to back up against them as well, considering we know that they have the advantage and they're going to want to keep it. In terms of Canberra United Academy, though, I wouldn't expect a similar result to what we saw in the first round of the season. We've talked about how much they've improved, and they've improved so quickly. I'm sure they're going to put the positives out of their last 6 matches they've played after Canberra Croatia, and they'll be looking to try and make an upset here. And if I'm not mistaken, the last time we did see Canberra Croatia play CUA was last season, and CUA did upset them. So it's always on the cards, but I'm going to go for Canberra Croatia victory here. How about you, Michael?
Yeah, me too, Matt. I'm going to go for Canberra Croatia in this one, just for them to extend their lead at the top of the competition.
All right, next up we have the CPL. Let's start with Brindabella Blues. Huge win for them against Wagga City Wanderers, 5-3. Like I said, big victory for the Brindies, as this breaks them away from Wagga City Wanderers. This breaks them away from Wagga, still in 5th place, but like we said, now there's 3 points difference. They finished the first half strong, going 3-0 up against the away side. The pick of the bunch for me was the lead up to the first goal, where there was a beautiful ball over the top from just in front of halfway, leading to the goal. Jamie Ward's brace and a Curtis Schaefer penalty is what rounded it out in that first half. The play leading to that Schaefer penalty, there was a massive high knee from the Wagga keeper there, which resulted in that penalty. It was a more even affair, though, in the second half. But Schaefer and Wurtzen's goals, yeah, cancelled out hopes of a late Wagga comeback. Overall, though, huge win for the Brindis, like we said. 3 points now is the gap between them and Wagga, and they are, if I'm not mistaken, tied on points with Canberra White Eagles, but Canberra White Eagles still have a game in hand against Tuggeranong United. In terms of Wagga, though, wasn't the first half performance they would have been looking for. Improved second half. There was a point in time, though, where they did get only one goal behind them. It was 4-3 at one point to Brindis, but Brindis, 4 minutes after Matheson scored, 4 minutes after Plonger scored, to sort of put any hopes of a comeback out of the way for Wagga. Not all doom and gloom, though, for Wagga. They are not far off in that regard. Only, 3 points off the top four. So Wagga aren't that far off, and it's good to see Brindis return to their home of Ipen Park specifically, as well, as they haven't played there in a while.
Next up, we have Yoogali against Queanbeyan City. Now, this was one of the sort of surprising results that had come out of CPL action this weekend, and credit to Yoogali. They came away with a 1-1 draw against Queanbeyan City. Could have easily been 3 points for them in this one if it wasn't for Mensah scoring in the 86th minute for Queanbeyan City to rescue them a point, as Mason Donadell gave them the lead in the first half hour of the match. It was a close game from all accounts in Griffith, as the league leaders in Queanbeyan visited Yoogali. And obviously, like I mentioned, Yoogali took the lead around the half-hour mark when Donadell put the ball in the back of the net. And, as soon as it looked like Yoogali were about to get their second win of the season, which would have been massive for them in the context of their early season, Queanbeyan equalised, and Michael Mensah was the scorer with an absolutely sort of towering header from a corner to find the back of the net and rescue 1 point for Queanbeyan. It's definitely a bitter pill to swallow for Yoogali, in the context that they could have not only got the win, but they would have gone level with Wagga and only been sort of 3 points off the top four. So in that aspect, it's a little disappointing, and it does prove that Yoogali definitely have the qualities to upset a few teams this season. Like, they've already managed to take points off Queanbeyan in this match, and they'll be looking to replicate those performances not only against the bigger clubs, but against all the other teams in the competition moving forward. And Queanbeyan will be glad in terms of how the game played out, they'll be glad that they were able to at least come away with the draw, considering that they scored so late on. And we mentioned it before, Matt, earlier in the show. It's always tough traveling to Griffith, and the preparation it takes as well when you are playing in those games, because you've got to take into account travel time. You just got to make sure that you warm up properly and you stretch properly, because it's not what you're used to when you're playing in Canberra most weekends. And the draw does mean that Tuggeranong can go 1 point behind them if they win their game in hand, because obviously they didn't end up playing their match against White Eagles this weekend. It really does prove how crucial that late equaliser was for Queanbeyan. They remain the only undefeated team in the CPL competition, and now no teams in the two main comps have won all of their league games with this draw. So that ended the perfect run there that Queanbeyan had managed to build for themselves so far this season. Matt, what's the next encounter?
The next encounter is ANU coming off that victory last week against White Eagles, make it 2 in a row with a 7-2 victory over Weston Molonglo. Quickly go through the goal scorers here. Deans, Hassan Al-Nuasir, Tim Lopez, Mottle with 2 goals, Neeson and Vujic. And then for Weston Molonglo, we have O'Gorman and McEwen. Big win for ANU, like we said, trying to climb back up that ladder. They started the first half very strong, going 4-1 up. Hassan Al-Nuasir scored a brilliant curler of a free kick. And Tim Lopez scored an absolute screamer from outside the box. Those are the pick of the bunch from the goals that I saw. They scored a further 3 in the second half. with some great team play leading up to that. Great mounting pressure in midfield on Weston, in like I said, in the midfield there. This win solidifies them in third place, now 2 points ahead of White Eagles. Obviously, that can change if White Eagles get the victory over Tuggies, but ANU have to put themselves in that position in the first place, taking out outside influences in that regard. The question now is this the beginning of a run for ANU? It's going to be tough next week as they go to Yoogali, who themselves will have plenty of confidence putting up a performance against the top of the table Queanbeyan. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, that's key. If this is a good run of results for ANU, they now go from 9 points off Queanbeyan to 7 points. In terms of Weston, they're still looting their first victory. In the first half, though, there were definitely bright moments for them. After they conceded, they went 1-1. They really pushed ANU for that. Unfortunately for them, though, 4 minutes later, ANU struck back, and then ANU took a decisive lead after that. It doesn't get much easier with Tuggies on the weekend, though, but Tuggies do have a weekend matchup. So can they take advantage of Tuggies, only playing a couple days before them? This is the catch-up match for Tuggies against White Eagles, if I'm not mistaken. So can they try and take advantage of that? Like we said, I don't doubt they will eventually get that victory, Weston. But like we said, unfortunately, it doesn't get any easier with Tuggies. But for them, it's just trying to go game by game and trying to get that first victory. Next up, I was about to say next up, Tuggies and White Eagles. But like we said, that match did not happen.
Didn't get played.
So, Michael, and if I'm not mistaken, that will happen midweek. So like we said, let's see what happens there, because that does have ramifications to the table. If Tuggies win,
Absolutely.
1 point behind Queanbeyan. If White Eagles win, they go above ANU. If they don't win, they are tied with Brindis, except they'll have a better goal difference than Brindis, unless it's a cop-out to Tuggeranong. So a lot of ramifications this midweek game, and the good thing about midweek games is that they're on at night. So I'll try and get to that one if I can. So I'm assuming that'll be a Greenway, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. So, Michael, what are our matches for this weekend in the CPL?
Let's kick it off with Queanbeyan City versus Brindabella Blues, Saturday, May 28th, 3 p.m. at High Street there in Queanbeyan. It's tough for me to choose. Like, I could go with, I will go with Queanbeyan City in this one, but obviously Brindis will come into this one with a whole heap of confidence following that 5-3 victory that they managed to produce against Wagga City. So they'll come in with heaps of confidence, but I will go with the team that remains undefeated so far. And I think they'll bounce back from, rescuing a draw against Yoogali, and they'll be firing and ready to go to get the 3 points in this match. What about yourself?
I'm going to go with the Queanbeyan victory here. But not only will Brindis be coming into this with confidence, but this is also a match they always step up for. No matter whether Brindis are in good form or bad form, they always step up for this match against Queanbeyan. It was very close last time. I think it was 2-1, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So they always step up. I wouldn't be surprised if they can upset Queanbeyan here or get a draw. I'm going to go with Queanbeyan on this one solely because every time I've picked them at home to not win or to get a draw, they always win. So the Brindis always step up for this match. So expect an absolutely electric encounter at High Street this week.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great game. Moving on, we've got Canberra White Eagles up against Wagga City Wanderers, Saturday, May 28th, 3 p.m. at Woden Park enclosed. I'm going to go for a White Eagles victory in this one, Matt, giving the players a bit of extra rest given the postponed game against Tuggeranong United that didn't go ahead. So I think they'll be a bit more fresher, ready to go, and I think they'll get the job done at Woden Park. What about yourself?
I'm going to go with the White Eagles victory here, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think because Wagga, like we said, this season, they've You've seen the improvement coming from last season, and they actually don't get the rest because there will be the catch-up match against White Eagles. So the catch-up match against Tuggies. So Canberra White Eagles won't have that extra rest. They'll be playing 3 days later. So can Wagga take advantage of that? Can they take advantage of the fact that White Eagles are playing in midweek against Tuggies? So it's going to be a very interesting encounter here. Let's see what Wagga can do. They have been able to get a victory against White Eagles before. If I'm not mistaken, it was last season they got a victory over White Eagles, or as a draw or something like that away from home.
Yeah.
So they're going to try and replicate something like that. And they do have Wagga do have the advantage of not playing in midweek as well. But I'm going to go with a White Eagles victory here.
Next up, we have Yoogali and ANU, Sunday, May 29th, 1:30 p.m. at Solomad Stadium. I'm going to go for ANU in this one. They've managed to now get back-to-back victories, and we're not shocked that they were able to finally put it together. Obviously, they've had a little bit of a difficult start to the season, but now that they look like they've come together, they're playing good football, they're having fun. They've obviously scored 7 goals in their last match, and I expect them to continue that momentum in a difficult game against Yoogali. Nevertheless, it's going to be tough for them to get the 3 points, but I expect them to come away with it. You?
I'm actually going to go for draw here. I was very impressed by Yoogali's draw against Queanbeyan. And like you said, they very well could have won it if it wasn't for Queanbeyan's the experience of Michael Menza from that towering header, might add. What a fantastic header that was. So look, we've mentioned how strong Yoogali are at home. That's something to never be underestimated. They proved it against Queanbeyan. ANU in that regard, like you said, very fair points. ANU are going to be going to this one with heaps of confidence. They'll feel like they need to win if they want to keep pushing forward and trying to get to their ultimate goal, even though they haven't started the season the way they would have liked. I can see this match ending up, all the ways, but I'm going to go for the draw here. I think Yoogali will probably have a point to prove after they probably felt like they should have won that match against Queanbeyan.
And lastly, we have Weston Molonglo at home against Tuggeranong United, Sunday, May 29th, 3 p.m. Woden Park enclosed for this one, Matt. I'm going to go for Tuggeranong United. We've obviously already discussed at length the sort of form that they're in and how the great attitude that they've instilled, considering they got relegated from NPL last season. And I've been very impressed with the attitude and the performances and the results that they've managed to pick up so far. So I'm going to stick with them in this game.
Yeah, look, it's very hard not to go with Tuggies. Just the way they've been playing, they've been absolutely outstanding. The intensity, the goals, their goal difference is tremendous as well, I believe. So it's going to be difficult to back against Tuggies. But Weston Molonglo, let's see if they can try and take advantage of Tuggies playing in midweek. In that regard, though, it's a tough ask for them to try and go out and beat this Tuggies side that are in terrific form. But like I said, let's see if they can take advantage of that. Another thing we should probably think of as well is if Woden Park is okay, because it will be playing.
Yeah.
If the game goes ahead on Saturday, that'll be another match. We know Woden Park isn't in the best of conditions this year. Barely any matches have been played. I don't know when they have. They've had to postpone games there after it. So let's hope there's no wet weather. So both these matches can be played at Woden Park and their respective homes of White Eagles and Weston Molonglo. All right, Michael, another great show today. Any last words before we sign off? There should be some cracking action, plenty of games to be commentated as well. Russ will be doing 3 games of NPL on the weekend. Jeremy will also be doing a game as well of NPLW. I'm sure it'll be the Sunday game. I'm not sure which one it is. Yeah. And there's plenty of action, including midweek action as well in CPL between White Eagles and Tuggeranong United. So plenty of football to look forward to. A good varied amount of times and switch between the days, unlike the Super Saturday for NPL this week. Yeah. So it's good to see, and there's plenty of options, isn't there, Michael?
Oh, there absolutely is. You hit the nail on the head. Plenty of football to be played during the week leading into this weekend as well. So, I mean, there's plenty of games for people to sort of get out and watch. And like we sort of dissected as well, there's games that you can go to, and, there's another game being played sort of soon afterwards as well. So you can go out there and watch sort of like 2, 3 games on the bounce if you wish. So plenty of football, plenty of action, and plenty of excitement.
There certainly is. Go out, watch your football. Hopefully it's good weather for it as well. That was another episode 53 of the Canberra Football Show. We'll see you next week.